It's time for today's face-off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quanell X and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-off on Fox Soul starts right now.
And Sean Diddy Combs' federal criminal trial is getting underway. 12 jurors and 6 alternates. They are expected to be seated this morning, and then opening statements begin. We could see also the prosecution's key witness, Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, testify today. You remember that CNN last year published a hotel surveillance video from 2016 showing Combs attacking Ventura. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. If convicted, Sean Combs could spend the rest of his life in prison.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
That was a news story on CNN about Sean Diddy Combs' trial starting for sex trafficking, sexual assault, and forcing men and women to be a part of quote-unquote sexual orgies called freak-offs. And Mr. Combs has maintained his innocence. He's pled not guilty, and he refused to even accept a plea deal last week. He wanted to go to trial and have his day in court. It has now come out, according to U.S. attorneys and U.S. prosecutors, that on one occasion, or maybe multiple occasions, he forced male sex workers to urinate in the mouth of Cassie during these quote-unquote freak-offs. And I believe Cassie said that she was forced to do it on multiple occasions. And all of this is sick to me. All of this is pathetic because no man should dehumanize any woman like that. But what upsets me even further is, in my opinion, Diddy should not be the only one on trial, because he was not the only one in those freak-offs. If he had all of that quote-unquote baby oil, like the prosecutors mentioned in their opening statements, well, he wasn't using all that baby oil by himself. And if a male sex worker actually urinated in this young woman's mouth against her will, why in the hell is he not on trial? He should be sitting at that table with Diddy as a co-defendant. Anyone, male or female, who was forcing women to have sex against their will, there should be co-defendants sitting with Diddy at that trial table. But why is he the only one that they're trying? I don't trust this prosecution. I think they handpicked just to try him and let all the others go free. And some, I believe, who are going to be witnesses in this trial could very well be just as guilty as he is in performing unwanted sex acts on people who were partygoers.
But it's not unusual in any sort of, especially federal prosecution of this scope, to have witnesses that are complicit, that have been involved in the criminal activity, but are turning state's evidence or cooperating witnesses. But right now, what we haven't had was testimony. We're talking about the opening statement of Emily Thompson, the assistant U.S. attorney who leading this prosecution. She has stated what an opening statement is when you, as the lawyers, let the jury know what you anticipate the trial will show. And it was some pretty horrible things. I am not ever shocked. I'm surprised that you are still finding a way to shift blame, to misdirect, as opposed to directing at Sean Cucky Combs, let's call him that. Because there's some horrible statements made by this prosecutor, if true, and it's not just Cassie Ventura. She also referenced the beating video of Cassie that most people have seen, where Sean is beating her while she's on the ground of a hotel hallway. She suggests that it was downstream from Cassie's failure to get out of the bathroom quick enough, but there was also a girlfriend who has only been identified as Jane Doe, but someone that started apparently dating Cucky Combs in 2020, and she thought she was falling in love, according to the prosecutor, until her first freak-off, where Sean took her to what she thought was just going to be a party, where he forced her to have sex with multiple male sex workers and she thought then that was just a one-time deal, but he continued to do it. She tried to insist on condoms. Cucky Combs would not let her use condoms, plied her with drugs, and this is all just prosecutor statements. But if it's true, and we know beyond a reasonable doubt, because we've all seen the video, we know that he's the kind of monster that just beats a woman like a punching bag. But unless everyone's lying, how do you get off by making another man urinate in your fiance's mouth?
Let's be honest. Them type of quote unquote freak offs were happening in Hollywood for generations.
Oh, it doesn't make
Those
it right.
type of freak offs had rock and roll artists and rock and roll performers, country singers. No, it does not. But those freak offs been taking place where that black freak named Sean Diddy Combs ever got involved. What I got a problem with is this. If what you're saying is true against this man, well then where's everybody else that are co-defendants who were committing these crimes with this man? Don't give me that bullshit that some of them are cooperating witnesses, so we're not going to indict them. All of those big mogul white folk, big mogul black folk who were partying with this man, some very high profile individuals, they should be at that damn table with him, not him by himself. Charles, you can't have a freak off orgy with only one freak.
Okay.
And right now the prosecutors want us to believe the freak offs and the orgies were only for one freak, P. Diddy Combs. No.
That's not, this is,
all of them should be punished.
That's not the case at all. He is the ringleader. He is the orchestrator. It is the Puff Daddy freak offs. I mean, that's what it is. It's Sean Combs' house, Sean Combs' parties, Sean Combs' facilities. I imagine some of these sex workers will be testifying. But if the sex workers are unaware that Sean Combs is forcing the women into it, if the sex workers are just thinking they're being paid to have consensual sex with someone, they haven't committed a crime. And you talk about, well, in Hollywood, Whitey's been doing this for years. It's not a crime, but it's not a crime to have an orgy.
What do you think the Playboy Mansion was?
Okay, again,
the Playboy Mansion and Hugh Hefner was the same exact thing.
Okay.
Hugh Hefner make P. Diddy look like child's play. But still to this day, no one has tried to go after the Playboy estate and hold him accountable like they did Bill Cosby and others.
There was no video of Hugh Hefner beating a woman bloody.
That's not what they talked about. The women who testified about the life inside the mansion said many things were recorded.
Legion of women talking about being raped.
You're wrong, Charles.
There's no
women have come forth who were play bunnies
into
at
young
the mansion
men
who testified
young boys
on video
being
what happened
forced
to them.
into sex. What we have is just if Sean Combs,
P. Diddy should have somebody else at that table with him.
Well,
he should not be by himself. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if they're white. Charles.
But you do.
If these crimes was as despicable as they are, and he's really guilty, we gonna let everybody else get off?
Okay.
Who participated in this?
Again,
because he was a quote-unquote ringleader. So now in America, what we're saying is we can have a criminal enterprise, a criminal organization of sexual deviants and rapists, but yet we'll just get the ringleader and all y'all can testify against the ringleader and we'll let all y'all go.
So almost
is that the American system now?
No, the American system typically is a system that allows a monster like Sean Combs, who is very, very wealthy, to, despite the fact that he on video beat his fiance, common law spouse, whatever, Cassie, bloody on a video, right? And use payola and graft to suppress it. Usually the very rich get away with it. The only reason you're defending Sean Combs, right, is because he's an African American.
That's a lie.
If it was a white guy,
that's a lie.
You'd be
racist
demanding
white folk like
no,
you
you're the one that brought race up.
You're like,
Whitey does this too. Whitey does it worse.
I don't care if they were white. They should be on trial with him. And I spoke a fact when I said that this has been going on in Hollywood generations before P. Diddy, but none of them have been put on trial like this man. You want me to believe that man had all these folks. P. Diddy had all of these moguls, entertainment figures, producers, executives, stars, athletes, and nobody's on trial but him.
Since the silent,
nobody's but him on trial.
Silent film era, there have been Hollywood moguls and Hollywood stars put to trial for sexual inappropriateness. Some just for being gay. But you don't have to go back as far as you just go to the 70s, where one of the most famous directors in the world, whose wife had just been butchered by the Manson family, was prosecuted for raping a 13-year-old girl. This myth that people aren't held to account because of their skin color in Hollywood.
I said before Diddy. Okay. So
yeah,
now
it's
since
been
Diddy,
going on since
second,
the 1920s.
Since Diddy's a 50-some-year-old man.
Right.
Show me in the last.
He looked 50 now.
Show me.
He's gray-headed now.
Show me in the last 30 years, Charles, where a white major figure that's in the entertainment industry, and these freakouts been taking place, where he was put on trial with his cohorts from a sexual orgy.
You keep trying to change.
It's a fact, Charles.
Well,
P. Diddy, if he's guilty, go to prison. If he's guilty, he's got to pay.
So wait.
But Charles, I'm a father, man.
So Harvey Weinstein doesn't count,
Charles?
To you? Harvey Weinstein doesn't count?
First of all,
because he was convicted.
But once again, Harvey Weinstein went on trial by himself.
He went to trial in New York.
But
and
let me ask you
and
this.
in L.A.
But
and
why,
guess what you didn't do, Quanell? You didn't
but
defend Harvey. Why you defended
nobody
Sean?
was on trial with Mr. Weinstein?
Okay, because he was the one bringing the.
Let's take Mr. Epstein. All the folks went to Epstein Island and having sex with underage children.
I don't disagree.
Some major figures. And the United States government had every one of their names, had direct testimony, time schedules, and had integral information. Why is it that no one who went to Epstein Island, who just as worse as P. Diddy, was ever put on trial?
Okay, so you'll
you'll
agree with me. Let's take the converse of what you said. You'll agree with me that Sean Combs is just as bad as Epstein.
If he's found guilty, absolutely I will.
Well,
if he's found guilty,
yes. Are you
yes.
okay with him beating Cassie?
I got a problem with all of that, but I'm going to say this to you. Let me say this.
Because he's the only one in that group you've defended.
No, let me be honest with you.
And you've been defending him for a couple of years.
Cassie should have got the hell away from him a long time ago.
Oh, let's victim blame.
No, hell no.
Let's victim blame.
The minute that man tried to make her have sex with other men, she should have told him, hell no, stick it where it don't shine, I'm out of here. Secondly, the minute he made her do it against the will, she should have went to the police as soon as she had a chance and turned this raggedy behind in. Don't you tell me that all she did was go to a lawyer to sue him for some money, but don't go to the goddamn police to prosecute this man. Charles, I'm a father. I have daughters, and I want my daughters to know. I don't care who the man is you're dating. If a man try to make you have a sexual orgy with other men and other men pee on you, you die first. And I promise my daughters, I'll kill every one of them that do that to my children or a woman in my family. But no woman is going to bow down like that and let a man do that and she stay with that damn man. You just said earlier that one woman had a freak off with him and she thought it was going to only be one time. What woman in her right mind believes a man will make her have sex with multiple different men? It's going to only be a one-time thing. No, hell no, Charles. She had the power and the chance to leave a long time ago, and she should have. And I hope she gets the help and the counseling that she needs. But if P. Diddy's guilty, he's got to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. But I'm not with this excuse-making stuff, Charles.
It's not excuse-making stuff. And I appreciate your sentiment about if someone where you've taught your daughters to go to police.
No.
But there are a great number of women. You have burning bed syndrome. You have Stockholm syndrome. You have women that are handcuffed by money. Women that are locked in because they have children.
How you handcuffed by money?
Let me finish. I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish. You have tons of case studies of women accepting manipulation and horrible abuse, and it's not as horrible as being the abuser itself, but victim blaming in this circumstance of domestic violence, domestic rape, coercion into sex. You cannot blame any of the women for how they reacted.
Let me tell you something. My grandmama
need
told
help. You know, you blame is our culture that doesn't empower women
my grandmother
to stand
told
up.
My mother and my aunties at a Thanksgiving dinner, a man put his hand on my auntie, and my grandmother said, we're going to make sure he never come around here again. But if you go back to him, you like it, I love it. What was she saying? She's saying that we will help you when you come to us with the problem. But if you go back to that man, it's all on you.
Okay.
Charles, do not sit here and try to pretend women don't have a choice if they choose to remain with an abusive man. Get the hell away from that man.
A choice.
Now,
hold on.
If she held hostage, that's different. If he holding her hostage, that's different.
Okay.
But if she can walk away because he had worked and she can leave, get the hell out of there.
There are a lot of women that don't have a mother like your grandmother. I don't want to get too personal, but like your grandmother, you lived with her most of your upbringing.
Yes, she raised us.
Your grandmother, an amazing woman, right?
She was raw.
But there are a great number of children that don't have a grandmother that'll take them in. There are a great number of women that don't have a mother that is there for them if they're being abused. There are a lot of women that are isolated and alone, and they don't see an avenue for escape, and especially in a situation like Epstein, like Harvey Weinstein.
She can't call 911?
Hold on. No, you can't a lot of times.
You can't call 911.
Hold on. Someone like Sean Combs is so wealthy and so powerful that they do not, and it's a legitimate belief, they don't believe the government will come to bear. I'm incredibly proud of our U.S. Attorney's Office, both the Biden administration for starting it and the Trump administration for finishing it, holding this billionaire to account for years, it sounds like, of coercing women into horrible. And how do you?
What you're saying is hypocrisy.
What kind of
what you're saying is hypocrisy,
Hold on. No, it's not. What?
Well, if they really hold people accountable, all them names on the Epstein Island, ain't nobody been indicted.
I have a huge problem with that.
So don't sit here and say that you applaud them when it comes to Diddy.
I am applauding them for this.
All them other powerful people who went to Epstein Island.
I applauded them for the final prosecution of Epstein.
And nobody's been indicted.
I was disgusted.
Nobody's been indicted.
But people forget that originally Epstein took a sweetheart deal with a little wrist slap after everyone knew what he was doing. And then it got resurrected. The media really had to pressure them, right? Harvey Weinstein, he got away with it for years until the media turmoil became so loud that someone acted. Sean Combs. I mean, hey, this has been going on for a while. But let me ask you, how much must you hate women? Especially the women that you profess to love, that you procreate with. How much must Sean Combs hate women that he has other men, sex workers, who could have any myriad of diseases? What is it, run a train, unprotected, no condom sex on women that are supposed to be his significant other?
Now, let me tell you.
What an absolute monster of a human being.
Let me tell you something.
I hope, I don't know why you defend him.
Well,
I hope he spends his life in prison.
Sean Diddy was
I hope
raised.
he dies in prison.
Sean Combs was raised as a black man.
Okay.
In the black community.
Okay.
And I guarantee you, coming up in the black community, he wasn't having no damn orgies. Coming up in the black community, he wasn't having no men run trains on one black woman. A black woman would have cut his damn head off his shoulder had he went to them, but let's go to a sexual orgy. I got baby oil. See, he didn't become that until he went to Hollywood and went to an element and a reality that wasn't the cultural reality of where he come from. Black folk were not engaging in that Roman Gallicular sexual orgies like white folks have always done in Hollywood and in the music industry. He learned that behavior from them.
Pretending that it's only white people that
white
run
people
trains.
Sean Combs that behavior. He damn sure didn't get it from the black community.
It's amazing that you found a way to blame white.
You can't bring that stuff in the hood.
Hey, hopefully, Cucky Combs, you'll spend the rest of your life in prison.
Tell Shaquita Shanae you're gonna make her do something.
Newark this afternoon. The interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey says the mayor trespassed and ignored warnings to leave the detention facility. The mayor and Democratic candidate for governor insisting he did nothing wrong. Fox 6's Duarte Geraldino is in Newark with the latest.
Newark Mayor Ross Baraka is out of federal custody and speaking out.
I see on social media they're trying to make me out to be a villain. I can't speak about the case, but I won't go into that.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
So we have had another occasion where an elected official, it becomes the new normal, has been arrested after a performative fit from protest. This is not only the mayor of Newark, but he's actually a candidate for governor of New Jersey right now, Ross Baraka. He was at the Delaney Detention Center, which is an immigration detention center, which he is claiming and other New Jersey officials are claiming lack the appropriate state and city permits to be open. You know, on the East Coast, it's very common to use the permitting process as a vehicle to close down things that politicians don't like. The federal government is claiming that it's a misdemeanor with up to 30 days in federal detention and up to, like, I think a $500 fine, a very low-level federal misdemeanor, trespass on federal property, are claiming that he went on to federal property without permission. He accompanied 3 U.S. Congress people who did have permission to come. And it does seem like from the videos released, although they blurred most of the faces, that there was actions that went beyond free speech. There was shoving, there was rabble-rousing, and there was an entry made by Baraka that probably violated the letter of the law. But it's also clear that they went out after him to arrest him after he had walked out of that portion of the facility. I think at some point there needs to be a concession by the Democrats that there was a mandate given to Trump in this last election, and that mandate is to be far more aggressive with immigration laws. I think he has gone too far, but I don't think, like we've had Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who has used some inflammatory language to suggest that maybe there will be violence or some other thing on the horizon, which I think is entirely inappropriate. With the line drawing, I think it would be a lot more would be accomplished by the Democrats by actually advocating for policies instead of continuing their embrace for constant protest that achieves very little or nothing, and for conflating falsely the right to free speech with the right to violence. It doesn't exist.
Charles, there have been many presidents in this country who were wicked racist, who did not love all of the American people, who did not support civil constitutional protections for all of the American people. Okay, but can we
talk about Newark, Mayor?
But they also felt they had a mandate from the voters of this country to do a certain thing. The same way President Trump believes he has a mandate to do a certain thing in regards to fixing the immigration problem. Yes, we have a problem, but I believe the way he's choosing to prosecute the problem and fix it is what caused a lot of people to question their great concern.
But we're talking about a protest gone wild in Newark.
But it's about immigration. Now, with Mayor Baraka going to jail, Mayor Baraka's a good brother. He has a good heart. He's been known to do many good things in Newark.
What?
But I will say this. What he did in Newark was gave housing to the homeless that did not have it before him. Barack also met with the criminals and told them, let's clean this thing up, and they began to clean it up. So
neither of those are accurate, but go ahead.
You can always debate it. But Charles, what I don't like is when politicians go to jail, it's often a political stunt. You understand? And I think both sides were politically stunting about this. Elected officials and the Trump administration for arresting them so fast.
That's it for the Face Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.